Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another horrific episode of At Home with Mark, a very special Halloween edition of the show. Tonight, my good friend Clint Simmons is on. He plays the drums, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk a little bit about drums and playing in bands and touring and all that stuff. Let me turn this stupid light off, and I'm gonna turn my actual cool lights on. Here we go.
That's better. Thank you.
Yes. So sorry for the delay, guys. We had a little tech issues. Not a big deal. But how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Doing the things.
What's new?
Oh man, girls are back in school and doing a little bit of shows, a little bit of session work in my house and around town, and it's kind of cold here now. We got some cool weather.
That's interesting. I talked to somebody today for work that lives in Texas, and he was like, "Man, it's cold." And I was like, "What are you talking about? It's cold. Like, what's
Yeah.
cold in Texas?" So
Yeah.
tell the people who aren't aware of geographically how Texas is in the winter.
Well, we have maybe like a month of like 40s and 50s or so. I mean, it depends. Some days during your winter it could be 70 or 80, and then all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and it's like 42 degrees and you have a jacket on, and then in the afternoon it's like shorts and t-shirt weather, and it's Thanksgiving or Halloween or whatever it is. It's
Right.
we take anything we can get. So
That's so weird.
whenever it's cold enough, we get excited. I mean, at least I do personally. I'm like, all right, I get to get my jacket. Like, what jacket am I gonna wear?
Get my slick jackets out. That's my favorite thing about fall is my jean jacket. Like,
Oh yeah.
period. As lame as that is, that's like my favorite thing.
Jean jacket time.
What's the so just for everybody's, all intents and purposes, like you're in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
So and you guys, this might be pretty loose. Clint and I are good friends, and it might be like a more of a friend hang than you guys are used to in these, but like Clint is a monster player, and we're gonna get into all this stuff and all the stuff he's done. But if it's more cash than usual, that is why. Clint and I played together at Berkeley. Clint was my drummer. I was his guitarist. So anyway, you guys in Austin though, you don't have like Boston length winters. It's only like 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, very short. Very short. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that guy was telling me today, because he was like complaining, and I was like, bro, you don't know the length of winter. When you're talking about winter is coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Northeast, like strap in, son.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go.
Oh, my first my first winter in Boston was, I was like, I remember it snowed like sort of like late in the afternoon, and I saw the snow starting to come down, getting real excited. Like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get some snow. All right, I better get out there and play in it. Or else, my training here is that the snow goes away very quickly. So I was out. Me and my buddy Shinya Fukumori, other great drummer. We hung out a lot and talked drum stuff, and he was the same way. He was like, we were both really excited to get out in the snow, and we got like my hardware case, the lid of it, and we were like sledding down any hill we could find. Just we were the weirdos out there. Yeah, snow. And then in the next morning, of course, it's I get ready to go to school, and I go to open the door, the back door, and it won't open because so much snow has fallen, and I didn't know that was a thing until then, and I was done with snow after that.
Boston winters are long, very, very long. Like, you can get snow in April and May sometimes. It's crazy. So just to kick things off, and I can expand this out. So you're like in your little studio, right?
Oh, yeah.
So do you want to do it? Are you on your just computer? Can you do like a quick spin just to show everybody where you are, or is it going to be? Is it detached? Don't worry about if it's attached.
No, I can do a thing. Let me make sure. If we get disconnected, I don't know what's going to happen. But
no, don't do that.
No, you can. I mean, I can kind of like.
Oh yeah.
Drums everywhere, and
you built this, right?
Yeah. It's just it's like the half of a garage. There's drums above me. You can't see. There's drums everywhere. There's drums out in the car. There's drums in the garage next to me.
That's what happens when you're a badass, man. People
They're
just give
everywhere.
you stuff
Well,
and
yeah.
um so what I usually do, I want to kind of still do the same kind of thing I normally do on the show, because there's a lot of the stuff we've talked about in the past, but like I just want everyone kind of hip to your story. So like, like my first question to all my guests is usually like, is there a moment in your life that you knew music was going to be the thing, like, or that you wanted to play drums or you wanted to play guitar, whatever it may be? Like, was there a moment that you can pinpoint? Because I have a moment. Not everyone does, but I have a moment, and that was like a course changing in my life. Do you have something like that?
Yeah. I think it was. I was trying to nail this down. Like every once in a while, I'll think about that. Like, what? Why am I doing this? when did it start? No, but I think it was just um just I think it was in freshman in high school when there was a drum set in our band hall, and I was in like marching band, and I didn't really know um any drum set things, and I've seen my friends play and stuff, and we were playing along with we would like we would like take over the band hall and all the PA and stuff in there, and we'd play just whatever we wanted through to the PA, and just like take turns playing drums to it, and I was kind of standing back watching, and one of the guys was playing that song, that lit song, "My Own Worst Enemy." I don't know if you've
Mm-hmm.
ever,
Of course, dude.
my
Come on.
band is and I saw one of the guys playing that. I was like, man, I could do that. That seems pretty cool. Let me try. And I did that, and I was able to lock in, just feeling that, like, feeling that, I don't know, that magic of locking in to music, and other people. And I mean, it was just a recording, but I found this like pocket in the sound that I could like sit in, and other things were happening around, and that was, after that, man, it was like I had this disease. I had this need to play freaking drums, and I mean, there's, it just evolved into this, like, I mean, at my church, I would like sneak into the room where they stored the drums for choir rehearsal, and I would like sneak them out of there and set them up and play them in a room, and I just couldn't. It was like a drug. Like I was like, I got to do this. I have to create this, like, this integrated rhythm thing. Like, let it come out. I don't know. That's kind of where I guess I didn't think. I guess that's when I realized I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I need this thing. That's
Did
all I
you
think about.
Yeah, did you, like, at that time when you said like you weren't playing drum set until that time,
Yeah.
after that, did you like seek out drum set, instruction? Were you like taking lessons, or what was going on?
No, I mean, I just really wanted to play, and kind of, I didn't really think about lessons, or I didn't know that was really a thing at the time. Or maybe if I did, that wasn't the first thing I thought of. I was just like, I just want to play, and my thought was like, if I could hear this song and figure out what's happening, like, what else could I learn from listening and playing along with music? So
Mhm.
I started just listening to music that, like, friends would, give me. Like, we didn't have I mean, we had mixed tapes. We were like at the end of mixtapes, so it was like CDs, like
Mhm.
mixed CDs, and we'd pass around CDs of, just, sometimes I didn't even know what I was listening to. It was just, you know something that I liked or they liked, and I would listen to it, and if I did, I'd try to play along with it and just kind of absorb, everything I could from that. And that was I guess that was kind of like my instruction instructional path in an early drumming Clint.
Okay. So you didn't do any like formal lessons until, well, no, you must have done some before Berkeley. You must have studied with people before.
Yeah, I did. Let's see. I mean, I didn't. I did some drum set lessons, and, like, before I went right before I went to Berkeley, I was in the big band at a community college, and I was studying with a guy there. Did some high school stuff, like, I mean, that the high school stuff was a lot like, concert band study, and,
Sure.
like marimba and snare drum, and stuff like that, that I saw as important, but at the same time taking away from my, like, true passion that I wanted to do.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So then, because what was the like you transferred into Berkeley too, like, right? You already were at another college and transferred in when we met.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's shocking to me that you didn't have much drum set like instruction because so here's the story, you guys. So when I went to Berkeley, I was 27 years old. I went on a whim. I applied and I auditioned on a whim because my wife wanted to go to like doctorate programs in Boston. I was like, what the heck am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll apply to Berkeley, see what happens. And it worked out way more in my favor. So we decided to go. And she didn't go to school. I went to school. And then I think I put a Craigslist ad and that
Yeah.
that you responded to. And I'll never forget this because we met outside of like Boloco or something on Mass Ave, and you're like, "Hey, I'm Clint." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Mark." And like we went upstairs and just talked about music.
Yeah.
And I can remember the first time playing with you because like I went through so many different musical pathways before I got to Berkeley in terms of like playing in jam bands and playing with cats that weren't as serious about it as I was.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you go to a music school and you're surrounded by people that are like-minded like you, it's like it changes your world. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, these people care about this as much as I do. I'm not the only one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I vividly remember that moment of sitting and talking to you. I don't know what we talked about,
Yeah.
but
Upstairs.
but I know we like got along really well immediately. And I was like, regardless of how well we play together, I really like this dude.
Yeah.
So, but I can remember like the first time playing with you and to hear you say you didn't have much instruction, like the feel that you have and that you play with, I was like, whoa, this guy's way better than I am as a musician. Like I need to like set my game up. And it was basically from there that like I think you brought Doug into the mix.
Yeah.
But like just so you guys know, so it's funny because Clint and Doug and I were like the trio, and then we added some horns later on. But we did a lot of recording in the studios in Berkeley, and I put out an EP back in, I don't know when that was, man. When we put that out, that might have been 2010 or something. But
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, but it's crazy to hear you talk about stuff because you guys. So Clint, I want to start to get into all the stuff about all the groups that you've been playing with since 2011, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But what people need to know about you as well is like you have a hell of an ear and you're an amazing like singer too, as far as like singing harmonies and like hearing that stuff. Cause I can't do that. Like that's, my brain doesn't work like that or my ears don't work like that, but yours do. So to be able to like use all four limbs in the way that you use them, hear the harmony, sing your ass off. It's just like, that's why you'll probably forever be like one of my favorite drummers that I've ever played with because of all that stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. But so after, do you remember I think the last gig we did was on that TV show in Boston. Do you remember when we did? We did a like an appearance on some morning TV show, and we were sitting. It was just me and you and Doug. Like the horn players weren't with us, but we were sitting in like the lobby waiting to go in. Like it was like the greenish room, whatever. And then I'll never forget this, but Doug like leaned over to me and was like, "Hey man, like this is before we played. This is before we went on the air live."
Oh, no.
He was like, "Hey man, I think I'm gonna move to Israel and do my master's." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I guess we need to find a new bass player, I suppose. And I was like, "Well, how soon?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're leaving in like a week or two." And I was like, "What?"
Drop the bomb.
Yeah, but like if anybody, and I'm like not trying to pitch my own music, but like if you go back and listen to, I have an EP called Evidence that we recorded in the Berkeley studios, and Doug and Clint both sang their butts off on that as far as harmonies and like helped create some really cool harmonies. And I have tapes of us in rehearsals from like the Alston practice rooms of working on harmonies, and it's fun to go back and listen to that stuff. But anyway, and that was one of the last things I think we did, and that was like that's when you were graduating too, and I knew you were going to be leaving and probably going back to Texas because your wife was there and everything.
And it's too cold.
Yeah. But like when you went home, like when you moved back, like what was going on? Like what happened right when you moved back?
Oh man, I want to just tell you first off, I'm like remembering things like this. There's, especially, when you have kids. I mean, it just makes it hard to remember stuff. So I'll try my best.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let me backtrack a little bit more. I was just listening to that Evidence record the other day. It like came on my Apple Music thing, and I was thinking like, man, who sang those harmonies, man? Some of those are high.
That was you.
That was me and Doug.
You and Doug. I didn't do any of those harmonies.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm pretty sure you did. I did some of the harmonies. I did a couple of the harmonies on 25, but I am pretty sure you did a lot of the high stuff. You always did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So good work.
All right. Well, anybody watching this, I really can't sing. I don't need to sing. I'd rather just play drums. But
No, you do a great job, man. You do a great job.
well, anyways, so the question was after Berkeley kind of stuff.
Like when you got back.
Yeah. So when I got back, I moved to Dallas. My wife and I got married. I mean, things were just like grown up time, But at the same time, I was done with school. I don't know if you know this, but I was in school for 7 years before. I mean, I was in college for 7 years. I went to like community college and then a university in Texas. I went to University of Texas at Arlington, and then I went to Berkeley. And then I came back and did some more online classes and just, I mean, more academic stuff. But it was a long journey, and to be done at that time was like I felt like I had the shackles off. I was just like free, It was, it's just a weird feeling like you don't have anything due, you have time to work on stuff.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I missed like having, you know, unlimited access to the practice rooms, like the Fordham rooms and stuff. That was huge in developing. I feel like where I am and who I am as a player. And anyways, when we moved to Dallas, we lived in like Deep Ellum, like in the Arts District, kind of close to the where the State Fair is, Cotton Bowl and stuff. And I did. I mean, as far as drumming goes, I did like some kind of like some GB stuff around. I mean, playing like with some great players. If I forget anybody, I'll probably. I mean, I apologize, but I'm not even gonna try. Man.
That's so fine.
People, but I did like a lot of like kind of R&B, jazz, kind of funk soul, like private parties, and then like brunches. Like brunches were a thing for a while in Dallas, and I did some like big band work, and that was just kind of keeping me afloat and happy just playing, meeting people and stuff, and then I slowly began to come down to Austin to work. I knew a handful of people, and I started working with this guy Nate Hubble, super sweetheart of a guy, like soulful player, singer, guitar player. We just do little gigs here and there, and then that led to like another thing and another thing, and I mean, playing on Sixth Street and stuff was a thing for a minute.
But you were commuting, right? You were still commuting at that time.
Yeah, I was doing. Yeah. I was just like, to me, it was the difference between playing a lot of like, just like kind of like what I'm doing now, I guess.
Like corporate stuff.
Yeah, like corporate.
Yeah, that's fine though, man.
Corporate stuff in Dallas, but it was, it was a little like tight, it was just like a little. I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, and I mean, I'm from Arlington area, and it was fun. It wasn't like doing it for me. And when I came to Austin, just the musicianship and the hang, and it's great. It was great people in Dallas too. I love Dallas people, and then Austin, it's just a different vibe. The vibe was way more, I guess, laid back, and there's a lot of variety musically. Guys I play with would be like heavy jazzers, and then at the same time they would be able to just jam band style play, or like one guy I play with, this guy Alex Brown. He's like super nice heavy jazzer, and then he can throw down on some metal. Plays upright, but can also, I mean, he's just like all over the map. I mean, guys, lots of talent around here, but it was just for me at the time, it was way more appealing to come down to Austin and play more like original projects, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Or people that are kind of doing something new, or doing their own thing and not trying to just turn a dollar. But I will my one of the first places I lived in Austin when I finally did move, I worked, I guess I worked here for like a year or so before my wife and I were like, and people watch, my wife's a nurse, so she was like, I'll work in Austin. I live in Austin, so
Mm-hmm.
we came down and we like to do like like kayaking and climbing and kind of outdoorsy stuff. So this was kind of an easy like pick for that.
Yeah.
So, and she loves live music as well. So we came down and we lived in this little shack. We found this little tiny shack, and it was kind of really close to campus, so close to UT. I'm talking about UT campus, so close that we could hear like the announcer from the football game, like announcing the game, like from our living room. Like, what is that? Do you hear that? And so we lived there, and then while I was living there, I was like just working with different people, like on Sixth Street in the Saxon Pub and like Momo's and 121 and like some of these places that are staples and are have lasted through the pandemic. And my neighbor, so I found out, this is a super long story, but
That's
uh,
fine.
this so my my neighbor is this guy from oh gosh, Sheffield. This guy Mark Stoney. So he lived, like I could see the back of his house from my backyard, and I had a drum set up in my one of the bedrooms of the house. It was like a 2-1, like super small house, little like 900 square foot, like just me and my wife.
Right.
I'd just be playing, in between working on stuff. And I think I worked on something with you there. We did like an early remote thing. Like, and anyways,
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, no, we've done a lot. And we could talk about that too, because
yeah,
that last thing that you did, I'm still waiting on those cats to put their parts on it.
yeah, right.
Anyway, keep going.
So we live in this little house, and this guy Mark Stoney, he's living, pretty close to my house. So he knocks on the door, like when I kind of stop playing, and I hear like this knock on the door, and he's out there, and he's just like smoking a cigarette on my steps, and he's like, "Hey, mate," I'm not gonna try to talk like him. He's like super sweet guy, with in his Sheffield accent, and he's like, I heard you playing, I'm making some music over here with my friends, and which were also his neighbors. And
Mhm.
so he was like, "You want to come over?" And I mean, I think this is how it happened. It's like, I want to come over and you know play some songs with us or whatever. So long story short, we or long longer story shorter, we I walk over there, and they've got, it's this guy, Seth Gibbs and Sabrina Ellis and Mark Stoney, and they have a band called Bobby Jealousy, and we lost Seth a few years ago. He's a great guy, but bass player, engineer, guitar player, producer, like super sweetheart of a guy. Miss him, but
That sucks.
we um, we made a record, and to me, it was just hanging out with my neighbors, and we were just like playing music, and they had he had a tape machine, Pro Tools, and he had Clasp. The first time I've seen Clasp, like running tape straight to Pro Tools. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And anyways, they had like an old Fibes kit over there, and we were just all in a room writing, making music together. And while we're like rehearsing these songs that I think we're recording them. And then by the end of it, we had a record, and it was like the most fun. It was like one of the most fun times making music. Just like my neighbor came over to my house and heard me playing, and I came over to his house, and we got together and made this. Oh man, it was so awesome. And
Like no pressure and just the love of music
yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, and
Hmm.
I just walk over there, and then sometimes we'd come over to my house and like shoot the BB gun in the backyard, and it was like so chill. And I was like, man, I love this. Like, this is so cool. I love being a part of this community, and through them, I met more people and more people like that. And but that was like the beginning of like, this is where I need to be. That band. Look them up. Bobby Jealousy. A Little
Yeah.
Death is the name of the record.
I love that name,
Yeah,
by the way. That's awesome.
we did a song called Rainbow. Man, there's some songs that my mom shouldn't listen to on that record, but
I know. You know what's funny about that? Like, as a songwriter and a lyricist, sometimes when I'm writing stuff for an album or I'm working on music, I'm like, an expletive would be good here. Like,
yeah,
in just in terms of like, making a point stronger.
yeah.
And then I'm like, my mom won't listen to this. She'll get mad at me. And then I'm like, is there, and like she'll be mad at me because she'll be like, that's a shortcut to thinking. Like,
Uh-huh.
why didn't you get more creative with it, kind of thing.
Did you have to
Um,
use that?
yeah, right. So, but that's what I hear in my head is just like, am I shortcutting myself? Can I be more creative with my words here?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's called for. If you can imagine Rage Against the Machine if there was no expletives.
Well,
No, it would be the worst, the absolute worst. All right, cool. So then after that, when was Alpha Rev?
oh gosh.
Was that soon
Alpha
after?
Alpha Rev was that was like a year. I think it was about a year after I moved to town because I everything. Now I can start remembering things based on when like my children were born. So
Hmm.
that was like right after my first was born, and she's 7 now. So that was like, oh gosh. I mean, we'll just say she's about to be 8. That was about 8 years ago.
Yeah. No, I
So
remember.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that band that was a lot of fun. That you actually came out and saw
Hmm.
a show of ours in the rain, man. That was nuts, right?
Yeah, when you guys came to Baltimore, and that's where I met Jeff, and we hung
Yeah.
out that night with Jeff, and
Oh yeah.
I think it was just us, but yeah, we walked down in like Brewers Art and stuff, and hung out, and yeah, that was a fun night, man. Yeah, because that was if it was right around the time when your first daughter was born, Skylar probably was like 1,
Oh yeah.
so like we were both pretty new dads,
Yeah.
so,
Oof,
but yeah, yep,
definitely. Those are
but
tough.
so and then you toured that for a while.
Yeah, yeah. We did. Oh gosh, I guess we did like a nice like maybe 2 years, maybe just
Hmm.
about 2 years. I mean, we did some cool like support spot acts with like ZZ Ward. We did some shows with her. We did some shows with this guy Ben Rector. Like
Hmm.
met, I mean, super talented dude. And
Was
also it was
Corey
fun.
Wong playing with him when you guys did the tour with him?
I think I was talking to Jeff about this. Like, he came and hung out the other night, and we were listening to some of the Corey Wong stuff, and we were like, "Oh, someone's at the door."
And I can't talk right now.
We were listening and thinking, like I think he was like because he always, I think he
He
was
was,
like he always wore like black and white striped shirts.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
think that's like I remember that like stage right.
That was before
Yeah.
he was like a Wolfpack full
Yeah.
member though, right? So like he
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
he
Hmm.
wasn't touring with them at least yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
But
so interesting.
man, it's wild. I mean, it's such a talented band. Those guys and then ZZ Ward's guys like just killer. Just to
Hmm.
what to be able to be that's the other half of touring. Seeing the other bands that you're on a bill with, or getting to see other music in other cities and stuff like that. I mean, that was just like every night. Like wow, so
Yeah.
such a treat to be able to do that.
Was that the first act that you were like doing fly shows and stuff with? Because I remember you were flying a bit, or was there something before that?
Yeah, I think that was. Yeah, I think that was like one of the first ones that we were doing fly stuff with. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And then so Jeff was in that band, but Zach was in that band too, right? When I saw you guys.
Yeah, Zach Loy. Yeah, Zach was in that band.
Okay. So
And
he was so he's your connection to live, right?
right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So in between Alpha Rev, like how many groups in between were there in between Alpha Rev and live?
Uh, a handful. Some of them are still have relationships with and work with, but and
Hmm.
there was, I worked with Gina Chavez. I don't know if this is the right order, but Gina Chavez, kind of Latin fusion artist out of Austin. That was the first time I went to um, Uzbekistan, and
Oh
Kazakhstan.
yeah,
Yeah, and Kyrgyzstan. We
I
did like
remember that.
man, so wild to go over to that part of the world. But just doing like a bunch of just cool like outreach things with kids and communities and bringing music to people that would never have that happen, and just getting to
Hmm.
see that part of the world is like, wow, this is, you know, amazing to see this other side, and just makes you really just thankful for what you have, and really thankful for the people you're working with, and they're all sweethearts,
Hmm.
you know. But
And that was all Latin jazz stuff that you guys were playing.
well, it was a lot of some of it. It was probably it was like I guess 60-40, like 60 being like kind of like pop kind of stuff with like some Spanish lyrics, and then if she's gonna get on me about this description, but
That's okay.
and the 40 being about, we do like some like salsa kind of stuff, and I actually
Mhm.
got to bust out the left foot clave that I
Yeah.
was for sure that I wasted so much time on, and it's one of, that's one of those things. Me and Shinya Fukumori, you know Shinya, right?
Yeah, he was in my arranging one class. Yeah, I
Oh
remember
yeah,
him.
but him and I would just nerd out on so much stuff, and we'd spend hours on just watching a video of somebody play some song over and over again. Like, man, I gotta watch it again, and then working on what they did. But one of those things was a left foot clave, and I remember we spent like nights at the practice rooms at University of Texas at Arlington, and we just kind of take turns like helping each other out. Like, yeah, you okay? Yeah, lean a little, lean a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
this way. Oh, you flam that, try
Did
this.
you
Okay,
work?
cool.
Did you work with Mark Walker at all?
I did, yeah, yeah,
Okay, because he's big into that stuff. I mean, he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, because he does the whole Afro-Cuban thing pretty immensely. Like that dude's a monster with
yeah.
that
I don't
stuff.
know. I don't think we ever worked on that like left foot clave, but I did. I learned like he was really good at giving you like the 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 very basic and needed to know vocabulary in those styles. Like
Hmm.
this is what you do here, is what you do here, kind of like kind of directions to go, like
Yeah.
where you could hear something and know like what to do there rhythmically, and not just be like play a samba for everything or whatever.
Right. You know what I've been really into lately, and I just need to buy the soundtrack to this. But like, have you ever seen that John Favreau movie Chef?
No, I don't think so.
Awesome movie, first and foremost. Like it's all about him. He's a chef in the movie, and I don't want to ruin anything, but it's a feel good movie the whole time through. So it's like a good date night movie with the wife to sit down, make some good food, and
Okay,
watch it.
okay.
But he has a show now on Netflix. There's like 3 seasons of it where he works with the chef that was like basically the on staff chef that was teaching him when he shot that movie, like teaching him how to cook, like properly how to cook,
Okay.
and they became good friends. So they have a show on Netflix now where they go to like he teaches him how to cook specific recipes, and then they also go to like famous chefs' restaurants and like learn about their specialties and what. It's really cool, man.
Oh
But all the music is this like Cuban,
yeah.
like killing music, and I just started realizing and appreciating that music a lot more right now.
Yeah.
Just it just like it's such a feel good type of music
Mm-hmm.
that I never had as part of my vocabulary, and I'm starting to like, okay, I should go down that rabbit hole a little bit and learn about this stuff because there's a lot to pull from, and
Oh
as a drummer, especially like not really as a guitar player too much, maybe as a piano player and a drummer, it's way more
yeah.
palpable, but like, woo, like some of that stuff, like in the soundtrack, that's where I was going with this. I just need to buy that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Um, well, so from there, I want to get to like the live stuff because a lot of people were asking me questions about it, like on Instagram, and I was trying to tell them, what your role was, but like talk a little bit about how that gig happened, and then I want to hear from you. Like, I want to get into the '90s with you for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So through Zach, Zach and I were doing Alpha Rev, and just worked together very easily. And So, um, I guess how the live thing came about. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just like how because I mean, and when we say live, I'm talking about Lightning Crashes live.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
sometimes when you say live, people are like, what are you talking about? Live music? Like when like no, the band live.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So so there was a time. Let's see. I'm not sure what year it was. I think it was. Um, oh gosh, I'm not even gonna try to guess this because they'll get on to me about this. But
well, you
so
came last summer.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
that's when you came here. I
yeah.
remember that.
So Chad Gracie, drummer, he I'll just try to compact this. He hurt his elbow. One of his daughters like dropped some macaroni on the floor, and he like slipped and bam, messed up his elbow, and couldn't like fully play for this upcoming tour. So they had another guy come in and kind of back him up a little bit and help support. This guy Robin Diaz, killer drummer, also LA guy, and he did that for um, a little while, and they got to a point I think to where Chad was back to like strength, full strength, and but they liked at the same time. I think they liked the energy of kind of this other rhythmical aspect because Chad Gracie has his his parts that he plays, and then solid train driving down the tracks, and then another drummer having his own like heartbeat and interpretation of a song, and you hear like a little bit extra, little icing on the cake, if you will. But
Mhm.
I think they wanted to continue to have that, but not as like a full double drum set kind of thing going on. Yeah, I got called. Zach called me and asked me to do. I think it was Zach. It was either Zach or Ed that called me first. I don't remember, but yeah, they were just like, we want to have this kind of percussion aspect, but in sort of a like a auxiliary drums thing, like a force, just extra like this other like energy source to interact with on stage,
Mhm.
make for the live show. And yeah, I was just like all about that. I mean, just the thought of it is, it's like to be able to like to play with somebody like Chad Gracie, like he plays with such like force and just precision, and he's always on, and it's just like there, like he's gonna drive it home. And so my position was kind of like emphasizing like a guitar line, or sometimes doubling a fill, or putting like a little texture, like a whether it's like a conga rhythm on like a timbalito, or um uh making a it's making like a big like downbeat going into a chorus. I double that up with like a what I have like a 20
You had
like
a
a
big
20
old drums.
like a 28-inch bass drum, and like a 27-inch cymbal. Just it's kind of like I thought about it as like at one point I was like, okay, yeah, I'm like he's like Gracie's like the like the rhythm guitarist, he's holding down the rhythm, and I'm like the lead player, but not like lead player, but like I'm like the like
The
little
icing.
ornamental things. But
Mhm.
then I rephrased, I like rethought about it again, and it's like I could be like I'm like I'm like the pedal board of Chad Gracie. Like if he wants like he's thinking like big boom crash. He hits like the big boom crash pedal, and I'm like boom. Come in there and shake the whole venue. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's oh man, it's yeah, that position is so fun. It's like so much fun to do.
Yeah.
Just to I mean just to watch and to watch Chad and Patrick and Chad Taylor and Ed just do their thing every night. They just bring it. Like I mean, you want to talk about that, man? It's like somebody just bringing a show every night. Like
Yeah.
those, sometimes when I'm playing, before I started working with them, I'd be doing, touring with whoever and playing around, and just you get tired. You're like, oh man, this is like the third show we've done this week, man. I'm like I'm so tired, or something,
Mhm.
but those guys just every night, man, they just like I can't believe it. Like, man, these guys are just giving it to the people, you know. Like I
Um,
have no excuse. Like, and they're making it so much fun, you know. So I can't help but, you know, every night I'm like sore and just we're all like sweating and it's super. I mean, I'm like bleeding and it's just like sticks. I don't ever break sticks and like sticks are flying and it's like,
it's rock and roll, man.
yeah, dude, it's oh my gosh.
That show when Andrew and I came to see you at Pier 6 that night. First of all, you know you have a good friend like when Clint shows up in Baltimore and I pick him up and it's like it's like I saw you the day before kind of thing. It's like
Oh yeah,
it's so easy, you know what I mean? But like talk about, you know, an easy thing, an easy hang. So Clint comes back to my house, we go get some pizza, comes back to my house in the country and out of the city. And you know, we just jam in my basement for a little while and then we go back downtown. And then you see like one of your best friends crushing it on stage with a band that you grew up listening to. It's like the most ridiculous thing. Like when I was sitting in the audience, because you know I was like I'm a big Our Lady Peace fan too from like
oh
back
yeah,
in the day,
right, yeah,
and they opened the show, so I was like I'm getting there early. I want to see Our Lady Peace. You know, Bush, all right, whatever. I mean, I was never really big into Bush, but live I was too. I mean, I cut my teeth learning guitar on a lot of those
oh yeah,
tunes, like Pain Lies by the Riverside, learning how to play a minor seven chord. You know what I mean?
mental jury, yeah,
Yeah. And you know, to like see you up there, it was so tight. I mean, that was one of the loudest shows I think I've been to in a while.
yeah.
And it wasn't the loudest. I'll tell you the loudest, and you'd be surprised. But the loudest show I have ever been to was Ben Folds 5.
Oh wow, huh.
That was the loudest show I've ever been to. Live was close. I mean, if Ben Folds was here, live was like right there.
Oh,
But but yeah, I mean, it was a spectacle of a show, man. And it was super tight. Like at times, and I mean this as a compliment, at times I couldn't tell what you were doing.
yeah,
Probably because you were doubling a snare hit or doing something to beefing up the drums, and I wasn't, it just sounded great.
yeah,
You know what I mean? There's a precision there that was going on in a communication on stage that I was like, "Oh, okay. So this is what your job is." And you were like locked into it too, you know. It's not like phoning it in or anything. Because
oh yeah, no,
you see, you know, sometimes you see bands like well, I mean, the Grateful Dead are a great example because you've got, you know, Kreutzmann and oh my gosh, Mickey Hart
yeah, Mickey Hart, yeah,
on stage together, and Mickey's kind of doing what you do, you
yeah,
know. So and it's like you start to appreciate like more and more. I wish I could have a band with two drummers because you know the counter punctual rhythm stuff you can do and just like the interesting ways you can kind of weave rhythmic patterns and change, you know, meter and all that stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff I can see that you could do with two drummers. But yeah, man, that show, and Ed still sings his butt off.
oh yeah, yeah,
His voice, if you guys have never seen that band perform live, wow. Like that guy has a voice. Like he's no joke, man. He can sing, that boy can
oh
sing.
yeah,
But that was so fun. So is that continuing or what's going on with them right now?
yeah. So right now, I mean, everything just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. You know, um, if everything is if everything goes back to normal, or if everything continues how it is scheduled, like right now, we're supposed to go to Australia in February
Okay.
for a big festival with Bush and Stone Temple Pilots,
Oh yeah.
and that'll be like a month, like just about a month of shows over there, and we're doing like a couple different fly dates over there. But if you know, who knows? Like we could, I could get a call tomorrow that says, "Oh, we're not doing that."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But and we're supposed to do. Let's see what what was next. It was like South Africa in November was a thing, and uh then oh gosh, we just got a festival added, um, playing with Metallica, and
Oh,
I think it's in Sacramento, I think, and like next October. I think that's what I saw. But
That'll happen.
yeah, so I think that's pretty good to look forward to. Maybe just that is what I'm thinking it's gonna come through. I don't know about the other stuff, but
Wasn't there a festival that you guys were on with the Foos were on?
yeah. We did at least two with those guys. The first festival we did was in one of the Carolinas. Gosh, I can't remember which one it was. Oh, it had like a big skull, like a blue skull for the logo of it. Anyways, that's a funny story. That was like the first. I think that was the first show I did with them. Um, like right after rehearsals, we rehearsed in Nashville for a couple days, and then we bussed from there to this festival, and we were kind of playing, I guess, like I don't know how many bands before the Foo Fighters were, but um, not too far out, like maybe like late afternoon. And on the way there, we're going, and we had too many cooks in the kitchen giving directions to get to the venue. we ended up we ended up getting there very late, and I think we had I think we had enough time to play like one or two songs. And so this is my first show with them, so I'm like, I'm already kind of like nervous because it's the first show that's not in a rehearsal room, and I don't even know what it's like being on stage yet in front of people with these guys. And so, we come up in the bus, and I see like just this ocean of people that are in front of the stage, and they're like, okay, we're gonna just roll up to the stage, get your ears, and go. And so I'm like, okay, oh gosh, oh. And so we come up, and the door opens, and I look out. We run down the steps of the bus, and it's like down the steps of the bus, and then steps to the stage, like are a few feet away. So like, pop, 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 we're back up. So at this time, I'm just thinking like, okay, first song is this, whatever. And like, where am I gonna, go to get to my stuff? Just don't fall. And so I go up the steps.
You would think that.
Well, when we're running, I hear like a drum set playing. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Somebody's playing drum set. And I go up to the top of the stage. I'm like, oh, there's Dave Grohl. And then I go over and I'm like, put on my ears, and Zach's standing next to me, and I'm like, Zach, that's Dave Grohl's right there. He's like, yeah, man, it's Dave Grohl. I'm like, oh my gosh, all right. And then like Taylor's like playing his drums, like, they're like um, back behind our stuff. And Taylor's just back there bashing away, just playing. And I'm like, oh my god, they're like, the Foo Fighters are right there. Okay, this is cool. There's like people here, all right. And we just ran out and played like we played like Lightning Crashes. I think we played like maybe we played I Alone and Lightning Crashes. I think that was.
And that's it?
But yeah, and then we were done, and then we came off the stage, and we the live guys hung out with Dave a little bit. I mean, they've known each other for a long time, and he was like, "Hey, come over to our green room area for a while." So they had kind of like a little green room backyard area hanging out, and so we were like just standing around talking to Dave and Taylor, and and Pat rolls up, and I mean, it was just like, okay, this is cool. I can do this.
What life is this?
But
Yeah.
those guys are so cool, like just so sweet and nice and real. Just dudes, man, just playing music. It's
Yeah.
just it was just really nice to see and be a part of. And we did another festival with them in Nashville, Pilgrimage Festival. We saw them for a little bit again out there, but yeah, that was the
Didn't
first
you say
show.
that?
Zero
Didn't you
to
say that?
1,000.
Didn't you say that Taylor was razzing you about something? Like,
Oh
was
yeah,
that
yeah,
you? What
yeah.
happened there?
He was like, yeah, he's like just like kind of pushes me like, hey man, who are you? What are you doing? I'm like, oh man, yeah, I was like, I'm Clint, man. I'm playing like auxiliary percussion and drums. He's like, oh cool, you kind of like kind of doubling the backbeat and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, like pretty much just stuff like that. And he like pushes Zach, and he does the same thing. Like, who are you? what are you doing? You look young. You look a young guy. What are you doing? You're not original. He's just like, I mean, he's just Taylor. The whole time, just like, yeah, man, like just so, just
Yeah.
bouncing around. Like, man, how do you do this, man? Him and Dave are just like so hyped up. Like
We have no
hours before the
excuses,
show.
man. I mean, they have fresh pots all the time. That's the thing,
Fresh
though. They got
pots.
the.
Yeah.
But I feel
Fresh
like
pots.
the. I feel like we have no excuse. Those guys are in their 50s.
Yeah, I know, and that's
You
how
know.
I mean, that's how I felt and feel with the live guys. Like, man, these guys are working harder than I am, and I'm thinking of like an excuse, like why I'm tired, and they're just like doing it every night, just blasting away. I mean, and what's crazy is, we'd come back off of like a break, and we wouldn't rehearse or anything. We just show up, and Ed would call a song we haven't done yet, or they haven't played in a long time, and they just kind of like, we talked through it in the dressing room, and then we go out, and they would just kill it, and it was just
Mm.
like, man, just
It
nuts.
it's impressive, man.
Yeah,
It was. This is gonna sound lame, but like, it was so fun to like. Well, that's not lame. It was so fun to see you play with those guys. Like, I hope I can do it again. I hope I can see you
yeah,
play with them again because it's like if you were to tell me, hey, dude, I just got a job playing with Pearl Jam, to help Matt Cameron out. Well, that would be a way bigger deal to me, like a way bigger deal, because my affection for Pearl Jam. But like, it was pretty damn close to that feeling, because it's just like, it's not like, for years I was like, why am I chasing this like solo thing? Like, I could be playing guitar in a band and touring and doing that thing.
yeah,
And then I'm like, but it's like, I had Joey Landreth on here, and he was talking about it. He was like, I was playing with this country band. We were playing in an arena. It was my turn to step up in front of the stage, and it was like a country band. It was my turn to step up and rip a solo. And he was like, and I felt nothing.
uh,
And he was like, and it wasn't that I was like, I don't like these guys, I don't like this music. It was that it wasn't fulfilling what I guess I didn't realize I wanted to do, which was my own thing.
yeah,
And he's like, and it wasn't an ego thing. It wasn't like, I'm better than this or whatever. It was just like, that's not what I would want to do. I want to get here on my own with my music, kind of thing.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's something to be said to like, because the energy that I bet you feed off of from those audiences is probably blows your mind every night. You probably never get sick of that energy,
yeah. It's a strong force for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real thing. And like, for people who, watch my channel and, are bedroom guitar players who maybe want to get out and play in front of people, it's like a thing. Like, if the probably largest audiences I've played in front of are like festival audiences and stuff, but like, in clubs, the largest club I might have played is like an 800-person venue.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was sold out. And if you're playing in front of that amount of people, and that was my old band, and like that, we were the headliner, and like, that is like that's a feeling, man. Like,
yeah,
when you get up and all these people are here to see you play your music and like songs you wrote,
yeah.
and are just like giving it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
I could do it for 6 hours straight,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and time just goes like that. So, I mean, it's like, for people who are trying to get out there and do it, man, it's there's nothing like it. Nothing
Yeah,
like it.
I mean, some of my favorite shows were like when we do like 9:30 Club,
Mm-hmm.
or like Paradiso in Amsterdam, like these smaller rooms, like I don't know how many seats, like maybe 500 to 1,000 or something like that. Like maybe, yeah, rooms that were just like stacked up, um, to where when I'm on stage, I look up and I can like almost touch somebody's hand, like reaching down from a balcony. Like having like people that close to you is like way more fun than like playing like a huge festival to like 50,000 people. I feel like because when people are up like right next to you, and you can feel their energy, you can smell their body odor.
Yeah.
Like, man, we're in this together. Kind of a feeling, and you can really hear them singing in the inside of a room.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
It's so cool, man. That's so
Yeah,
cool. Well, I'm so proud of you, man. It's like, you know, if we can ever, and I still need to come out to Austin, and we need to do like a funk gig, and like
Oh yeah.
when this is all over, I want to come out and see you. But because that one time when you came out and we played in Annapolis, that was so much fun, man. Like
Oh yeah.
just getting back together and playing some music.
Yeah. So fun.
Such a good time. All right, are you ready to do the lightning round get down?
Oh yeah.
Do you know about this?
Yeah. Sort of. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you questions to
Uh-oh.
105 BPM.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do is it's just whatever you want to do. You can either blurt out the answer to the question, or you can explain your answer. Doesn't matter. There's no time limit. You're not being judged.
Right.
Maybe a little bit you'll be judged. No. You're not gonna be judged. So here we go. First question. It's always the same. Lennon or McCartney?
McCartney.
All right. And since it's Halloween season, the rest of these are all gonna be Halloween based. Ready?
Okay.
So carve a pumpkin or paint a pumpkin?
Carve, definitely.
Okay. If you go to a door and someone hands you they say you can either have candy corn or a pencil, what are you going to take?
Candy corn.
All right. Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees?
Freddy Krueger.
Okay. Trick or treat?
Oh gosh. Trick or treat. Always treat.
Okay. You're such a dad. All right. Here's a good one. Is Nightmare Before Christmas A Halloween movie, or B, a Christmas movie?
Ooh. That's a tough one. I think it's a Christmas movie.
Okay. Thriller or the Ghostbusters theme?
Ooh. Ooh. Thriller.
Okay. If you had to spend a night in one of these places, would you rather spend the night in a haunted house or in a graveyard?
Probably a graveyard. I feel less trapped.
Okay. That's a good point. Clowns or ghosts?
Clowns.
Okay.
I'll take a clown.
All right, and the last one is not Halloween based, but if you had to sub a gig, which would make you more nervous for subbing for one of these players? And they're both not alive anymore, but if you got a call, which one would you freak out about more?
Okay.
John Bonham or Neil Peart?
Ooh. Probably John Bonham.
All right, why?
That guy's a force. Like subbing for a dump truck.
All right, fair enough. Well, you made it through. Congratulations, you are unscathed, my friend. So thanks so much, buddy, for doing this and making some time. And we gotta catch up more, some other time.
Yeah,
personally,
sure.
But this is super fun. So you guys, what's today? So we don't have a show this Saturday, but next Wednesday we do have a show. And off the top, it's Brian Ewald. Brian Ewald is a product specialist for Paul Reed Smith Guitars.
Hey.
And he's a good friend. He lives in Annapolis, so he's actually subbed bass on some of my gigs. But he's a great dude. And any of the videos you see of people like demoing guitars or amps, it's Brian on Paul Reed Smith's website. So thanks for coming out, guys. See you next time. Clint, thank you again. You can hang out for a second. I'm going to end the broadcast, but subscribe if you haven't, and say hello. All right. See you guys.
Adios.